Hey there, Megamaniacs. This is Mr. MegaManFan, and today, along with a review of some new Famicom imports that I picked up, we're also going to talk about the care and cleaning of cartridges. Now, I see it in a lot of videos. It's a trope that does not die, and I know a lot of people are doing it just as a joke, but this whole concept, this childhood memory that a lot of us carried over into adulthood of spitting into cartridges and putting them back in the console. Yes, that actually did make them work, but it made them work for all the wrong reasons. You were using something to temporarily bridge the contacts, your own saliva, but what that was doing was actually corroding the metal that makes the contacts connect to the pin connector on your console of choice. So you might have gotten your cartridges to work better in the short run, but in the long run, you were doing more damage. So it's unfortunate that we didn't know that as kids, but as adults, we know better. Dip a Q-tip in isopropyl rubbing alcohol. The stronger, the better. And just dip it lightly with one side and wipe the contacts on each side of the cartridge, top and bottom. I'll turn it up so you can see what I mean. You want to go underneath and you want to go above. You want to clean both sides and wipe out as much gunk with the wet end as you possibly can. Do not worry, the alcohol will evaporate. You are not going to leave anything, and you are going to wipe it dry anyway. So you look at all of that gunk we just removed from this cartridge. The more popular a game was, the more likely it's going to need to be cleaned, because who knows how many grubby hands have grabbed this cartridge. Who knows how many consoles, clean or dirty, this cartridge has been put into. You don't know the history. It is a complete mystery. So do your personal console a favor and do yourself a favor. Clean your cartridges when you buy them. Even if you get them from a reputable seller, even if you get them from a game store that does not overcharge and seems to have people who work there that know what they're doing, let's just be honest. They may have had a clerk who just took them in on a trade-in day and put them all out. They may have priced them and put them out without even cleaning them. You don't know. The owners may know what they're doing, but the people they hire may or may not know what they're doing. So don't just blindly assume trust. Do a little cleaning. It'll save you a lot of headaches in the long run. It'll also save you from having to make a return trip to a store and go, this doesn't work. Well, did you try cleaning it? Well, no, did you try cleaning it? You don't even want to have that back and forth. Let's just save everybody the trouble and clean them ourselves when we buy them. And the less reputable the source, the even more necessary that cleaning will be. If it's been sitting in a dirty box in a pawn shop for months and nobody's bought it and it's just been gathering dust and being kicked around and picked up and dropped again, yeah, you're definitely going to want to clean that when you get home. If there's any chance it's going to work at all, it's going to need to be cleaned first. Just assume that the pins on cartridges need cleaning. And no matter how funny you think it is because you remember doing it when you were a little kid, don't spit in your cartridge. It's not helping the situation. You don't know what's been in your own mouth, and you don't know what you're putting on the surface of the pins. It may make it better, it may make it worse. In the long run, it will definitely make it worse. Why would you want to put anything that's been in your mouth on your cartridge by shooting your spittle into it and whatever else may have been on your teeth or gums at the time? I don't care if you just brushed. I don't care if you used mouthwash. I don't care if you just think you're putting air on the surface and not anything else. You are putting spittle on there. Just clean it, please. And the more popular the game is, the dirtier it will have been. Do you really want all that dirt inside your console? I don't. Do you? Even if it worked, you'd just be transferring the dirt. So here we have one of the games that I just cleaned, which is Spartan X, but you may know it better as Kung Fu Master from IREM. I remember them. Oh wait, no I don't. JonTron joke just from my friend Ryan. Anyway, it's a pretty simple side-scrolling beat-em-up game where enemies approach you in waves and you take them out with a kick or a punch. Some of them throw knives like you just saw there. and some of them are bosses of the level that you have to defeat in order to go up the stairs to the next level. You clear one floor after another. I'd say this is the progenitor of a lot of belt action games. Games like Double Dragon and Fatal Fury, they can all draw lineage to games like Kung Fu Master. If you're wondering why it was called Spartan X in Japan, it was loosely based on a Jackie Chan and Sammo Hung movie of the same name, which eventually got dubbed into English as Wheels on Meals. Although, when I say loosely, it actually more closely resembles the plot of the movie Game of Death, so it's adapted from multiple movies. We move on to Nightmare 2, The Maze of Gallius. Right away from the title screen, I was way impressed with this game, especially given that it only cost me $1 and change, as did the other 3 games you see featured here. Now, even though this game was never released outside of Japan, it was very influential in a lot of the things that it did because it's a side-scrolling action RPG which predates games that used a similar concept like Castlevania 2. In fact, it's said that the level exploration of Castlevania 2 draws directly from Nightmare of the Maze of Gallius in terms of design, if not actual code. And it's easy to see why, because you're solving these various platforming areas and finding items that you need and discovering which way to go by going up and down to different areas and even falling from one floor to the next, all as you pick up these items. And you have 2 playable characters that you can switch between, one named Papillon and the other named Aphrodite, and they are trying to save their baby Pompous from the evil Gallius, hence the name The Maze of Gallius. I find this game to be very enjoyable, and I don't understand why they wouldn't have just given a little tiny bit of localization to bring this over to the West. I don't think it would have taken that much, since a lot of what you do in the game is action-based and not text-based. But here we have Super Mario Bros. 3, which I picked up based on a video that purported to give all of the differences between the Japanese and the North American versions, although a lot of that video was focused on the box, the artwork, and the manual of the game, and then a little bit more on the gameplay itself. So I decided I wanted the Super Mario 3 Japan cartridge to see if there were any actual gameplay differences, try them for myself, and find out what they were. Now, I talked earlier about how everybody seems to have a childhood memory of blowing and spitting into their cartridges. Well, I feel like everybody probably also has a memory of leaving an NES on all day long playing Super Mario Bros. 3 in order to beat it, whether they owned it or had it as a rental. Because either way, nobody had any way to do save states back then, and this game didn't have a battery backup to save your progress either, so if you turned it off, you lost everything that you did. Fun fact, me and my buddy Chris, aka Sir Crunch, beat this game all the way to completion when we rented an NES and a copy of the game, and we got so excited that we jumped up and down to celebrate, and the pin connector was really shoddy in this rental NES, probably because it had been used and abused so much, so you had to push the cartridge in just right to make it connect, and it could come loose on a heartbeat, and jumping up and down to celebrate was all it took. So Bowser fell through the bricks, and we jumped up and down, and then we didn't even get to see the ending because the game glitched out. Finally, we have Hide Lied 3, and I just hear James Rolfe in my head every time I hear that word. Hide Lied, Hide Lied, Hide Lied. Man, he hates these games a lot, but I can kind of understand why from Hide Light 3, because I don't have a patch to play this, and I don't know how much better it would make it, because once I got out into the countryside and actually started exploring and fighting monsters, they were giant trees and blobby things, and I found myself rather unimpressed. Now, Wikipedia seems rather confused on the subject of Highlight 3. It doesn't even list a Famicom release for this game, but I'm playing it, and if you look at nintendo.fandom.com, it has a listing for it, and it says the subtitle translates as The Space Memories. It even goes on to claim that the plot, gameplay, and graphics have been greatly increased over previous Highlight games. Oh, well, I'll take their word for it. Maybe this gets better if I get a patch and actually know what I'm doing, but I thought I was doing just fine in these battles, and then all of a sudden, at complete random, while fighting one of the blobby looking things, I got a game over, and I couldn't tell why because it looked like I had plenty of HP. I didn't see anything that dropped it radically all of a sudden, and yet, game over, I was dead. So, who knows what killed me? Maybe I got poisoned, maybe there was a trap there. Anyway, it wasn't worth continuing after that, so I did not. This is Mr. MegaManFan, and I thank you for watching, and I hope you're having a good day and a great week to come. See you in the next video.